The guys who are really cool with being forever single, that got married when they were young, went through a horrific divorce and never want to get married again. I meet a lot of guys like that.
So you've always been successful with women. You have a ton of pre-selection on your Instagram. Specifically, you got a girlfriend the past year. Aside from your previous success that you already had, what would you say is the biggest change you've noticed in your life since you started dating Kylie?
Yeah, women are blatantly coming after me now. I think
Blatantly,
that is
okay.
it's before they were coming. I'm not going to say again. I'm not Hugh Hefner, Dan Bilzerian. I'm not like that. But what happens is for most guys, there's some difficulty with women. They kind of give some pushback. When Kylie and I go out, women want to come home with us. It's crazy. That's probably the main thing, because I think what happened for me before, Luke, was there was this concept of because there were so many women on my social media, people were like, well, he's not girls would be like, I find him attractive, but he's not attainable. And then once Kylie attained me, then they started to realize, wow, he really was attainable. Maybe I should have gone out with him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should have given this guy a chance. Jesus Christ. And then you see see my pictures all over the place. You're like, I bet his business is doing well and blah, blah, blah. And then so I invite girls to parties. And I will say, since I've been with Kylie, the response rate for the events I've thrown has actually increased. Because I don't know, maybe maybe I seem like more of a catch now that I have a girlfriend. I don't know, but yeah, that's one of the main differences that I've noticed as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how pre-selection is the attraction on your Instagram. Yeah. It almost seems like having Kylie on your Instagram has added a form of comfort to your game. Because you're attainable.
Comfort. Yeah. Comfort seems like I'm attainable. I mean, it's kind of a weird message that it sends, right? I'm attainable once you can't have me. Once you can't attain me, now I'm attainable. So now you find me attractive. But you have to understand female nature and pay more attention to what they do and not so much what they tell you. Women will tell you what they find attractive, but you'll find that what they actually respond to is something very, very different. So pay attention to what they respond to. And that's something that I learned the hard way. I learned the hard way to because a lot of times you'll meet a girl and you'll be in a relationship and she'll complain about things and you'll do every single thing she asks you to do. And then as soon as you do it, she punishes you for it, rather than, standing by your boundaries and understanding, the masculine traits that you had that made her attracted to you in the first place and not leaving those traits. Then all of a sudden you are able to keep a girl for a long time.
Hey, Mike, so going off of you being in a relationship, right? And I know that a lot of our interactions with women, you can get a lot of not resources, but I guess if I can make the question a little bit easier, what's the point of having a girlfriend?
Oh, for me, I'm 46. I would like to have kids at some point. I'd like to get married. Kylie is, from every girl. So the thing is like this, right? As far as the point of having a girlfriend, I did not want a girlfriend. What really frightens me whenever I have guys come into the program and they're like, my main goal is to get a girlfriend. My main goal was to have fun and enjoy my life. I met a girl who was outrageously attractive and then did everything to try to prove to me that she was loyal and an awesome girl. And my apartment's perfectly clean. She feeds me. She's just an incredible woman who's incredibly loyal and terrific. If that wasn't the case, for instance, the girlfriend position was created because Kylie was awesome. If Kylie wasn't awesome, I would probably just go back to being single. The point of having a girlfriend is it's one of these situations, some companies don't have, some NFL teams don't have a fullback because they don't need it. That's a position that only exists in some cases. Some companies don't have what's called a chief revenue officer. Some companies have a CRO. Some companies don't have a CRO. It's like one of these positions where somebody comes along and a candidate and they're so awesome, you need to put them somewhere as an executive. So you make up a position for them. Michael Sartain's girlfriend is a position that was made up because Kylie was just so incredible. Does that make sense? That's the way I would recommend all you guys do it. I would recommend you're the CEO of your company before you hire another CEO. You just go ahead and be CEO yourself. I'm very happy being by myself. I need to find if I was going to have a girlfriend, I needed to find someone that I was actually happier with than being single. And 99% of the girls I was with weren't like that.
Gotcha. I guess I asked that because I feel like I've been in stints where I have a lot of fun with women, right? You have a bunch of good nights, but then you wake up the next morning after, right? Maybe she's sleeping on your bed, whatever the case is, and you're like, well, is this it, right? Okay, maybe they get a little bit more beautiful, maybe they're a little bit more interesting, but it's like, does it really mean anything? Okay, we just had sex, great, but now what? There's nothing more to it. I kind of feel like, right, people join the program obviously to get better with women and learn how to network and stuff like that. But I feel like, okay, now you start getting a lot of women, you start having a lot of sex, and it's like, well, then you start to realize the sex is hedonistic. So then you figure out okay, well, maybe having a girlfriend's not bad. And I feel like I've had conversations with people where they're like, I just want to be forever single. Do you think guys are cool with just being forever single?
Some of them are. I definitely met guys who are. I'll tell you, the guys who are really cool with being forever single, those that got married when they were young, went through a horrific divorce and never want to get married again. I meet a lot of guys like that. That happens pretty frequently. The reality is there's a spectrum. In order for people to have children, they don't have to be married, regardless of what your church taught you. There's a lot of people out there that have children and they don't get married. That's something that happens. So it's one of these things where I will tell you at certain points in my life, I was not the slightest bit interested in getting married. Now I'm at least open to the possibility. Some guys, they're immediately looking to get married to the first woman that they can. And in doing so, they end up 10 years later with a fat wife who cheats on them and then divorces them and takes half. So my whole thing is, I think you need to be a little bit more discerning when it comes to red flags. In order to get that discernment, you need experience. In order to get that experience, you need to be attractive so that you can go out with lots and lots of women, so that you can tell the difference between, okay, this girl is just a little insecure and jealous, but that's okay because she really likes me. This girl's insecure because she has borderline personality disorder. You need to figure out what the difference is between those two things. And that's what happens with a ton of experience. That's why it's so important to do that. But as far as like some guys who are players forever, I know a ton of guys like that. I meet them all the time in LA. I meet them all the time here in Vegas. They're here every weekend in Vegas. But there's no, as far as what you were talking about before, I think that one of the reasons why it was so easy for me to get through this part of my life, not easy, but easier, is because of the Stoicism that I mentioned before, like Marcus Aurelius and Jocko Willink. The fact of the matter is, I just look at the situation. If you hooked up with a beautiful woman afterwards, the next day, just be like, think of all the guys who are going to go years without being with anyone. Think of the gratitude. Like,
no, you're right,
there's
you're
no
right.
one coming to kill me. Like, I'm going to get to eat food today. Like, I live under a roof. If I cut myself, I have antibiotics. Like, I live in an incredible time period. And then I immerse myself in my work, and I immerse myself in some of the books that I listen to. And so concerning myself with whether or not is this it? Is this the girl I'm going to be with? Or she's for the streets or whatever. The term I like to use is, let's be discerning without being judgmental. Some girl goes off and bangs 600 dudes. That's a really interesting person to have on your podcast. I would love to meet a girl like that, have her on my podcast, ask a bunch of questions, but I don't want to marry her. I'm discerning that I don't want to marry her, but I'm not judgmental in the fact that she slept with a lot of dudes. And in doing so, it just doesn't affect you. You see what I'm saying? And the other thing is, I think it was also helpful for me is, let's just say back before, when I was single, I'd be sleeping with a girl for a while and I knew she wanted a boyfriend. And I straight up told her in the beginning, I'm like, I'm not going to be your boyfriend. I know it's going to end at some point. At some point, I'm going to go out to a club and she's going to be on a date with some other dude. But it's not because I'm lesser. It's because I put her in an impossible situation. She wants commitment. I'm not committing, but she's sleeping with me. At some point, things are going to break and she's going to move on. And that's when you just take out your credit card and you charge it to the game and you just don't worry about it. That if you can keep that attitude, then none of it matters. So what does Juicy J says? These for everybody. You see them at every party. They ain't going to be loyal, not for anybody. But what does he say at the end? But I still love these. That's kind of the attitude. I don't, but that's kind of the attitude that I have. They can do whatever they want, but I still love them. I just don't want to marry them. I don't want to be in a relationship with them. I don't want to spend money on them unless they're good girls who actually show me through compliance that they really want to be in a relationship with me. Like Rollo Tomasi says, she's willing to crawl over broken glass and change her religion for me. That's the kind of genuine desire I want. And anything short of that, you're just not going to get my commitment.